And then on top of all that, they hit a lot of shots, and this is a great map for them to showcase their mechanical skill. James goes to town here. He loves camping out around mid on the T side and the CT side. I think the weakness for Spirit that they kind of want to try to focus on is the mid area, and they also rely on James holding down card for the cat exec. So if they do like a 2-1-2 setup, you know, maybe the early round have it spent trying to clear out the double doors, give that an especially high amount of attention, and then try to do your cat executes where you do a deep CT smoke, a cat smoke to cross, and then you jump into spawn and try to rush down James, because if they end up with the 2-1-2s, that's going to be the weaker site to hit, and we know they like that.
Well, it's going to be Spirit out into long. Crizzen, not going to stick around at all. Runs entirely back to the bomb site, gets into safety, calls for the rotate over, and it's James here to support him. But does Spirit go all in? I mean, they have no other map control. That's a hell of a gush. Glock at that distance hits the head. Crizzen's going to have 2 players in front of him now, and those Ts are enabling themselves to get this A site because they've managed to use ramp with that bomb in order to find a plant. They have deep, long A control as well here from Sotvik. He's hoping for Fitch to make noise. That's going to indicate the flank has arrived, and oh my goodness. Hello, Fitch. This guy's always picking up multi-frags in the pistol, and he gets that key flank going. James and him. Now all that remains versus Coldy. Coldy's uncomfortable. He pops his head over the wall, and sure enough, AVANGAR steal this.
Absolutely dirty. And AVANGAR, I was going to criticize them for constantly having a pistol round on CT side of Dust2, where they stack 3 on B site, and then they play 2 at A. Every team has not gone B, and it's probably because they've watched one demo, or watched a bunch, and seen that they always stack on the B side. So it's probably because they're confident in the retakes. It's kind of like what you would do on cash if you feel like, okay, we can let them know that we let the A site, we let teams have the A site, and we usually stack B or push it. But if you're confident in the retakes, then that's fine. There's a situation where that happens. Now, Spirit do get the bomb plant, so that's something. But apart from that, there's not much going on for them. So now, oh, they've actually decided to force into this. So right off of that loss, they've managed to pull out 2 AKs, a Scout, and a Galil. It's not too bad. We've seen worse on second round buys. AVANGAR seem to be aware of this threat, though. Haven't actually bought those 3 to 4 SMGs like we've seen them do sometimes. Instead, they've got an M4, FAMAS, UMP, and 1 MP9. 3-2 setup, and again, here's that mid-exploit coming out. Dima looking for his frag, and he gets it. Fitch out of the round.
It's the M4 down. Of course, the 2 players over towards that A side are the ones with the SMGs, so easy upgrade for Crizzen. Nothing else after the fact there from Spirit. They get that pick, they fall back into mid, they have their man advantage.
Yeah, now it's a 2-2, and the problem for AVANGAR is that they don't have info on mid now. So not only can they not cross, not only would they be really thinning out the B site to have one person leave to cross mid, but they can't tell if it's going to be a mid split to B or if it's going to be an A hit. That means it's hard to rely on rotators in this situation. Going to come down to site hold, and Spirit have a perfect A split. Look at this, just Crizzen from the high ground. A great nade from James, though.
That's gnarly. Drops Coldy and SDY as well, so here we have it. James gonna offset himself. No second smoke for that cross. Bomb thrown out in full display, and a Molotov to burn the car. That's gonna be right at the feet of these 2 remaining Ts. And they only have 20 seconds. I mean, the pressure is mounting, and they still don't find an opening. They're gone. Or no, never mind. Gonna double back. Really playing this down to the wire, but Coldy almost with more than 2 kills. Only gets the double, but definitely puts things in questions at that final hurdle. AVANGAR, hell of a hold.
Yeah, Buster doesn't get an upgrade there, but that was crazy because the spots were terrible for AVANGAR. They needed the nade from James, and they needed Crizzen to pick up that kill on Cat as well. The split was perfect from Spirit. They had all the map control they could have asked for. They got the opening kill as well. They only had 1 player was low, and he got targeted by a really well-placed HE. So once he was down, it was much scarier round for Spirit. They couldn't deliver with their long players to make up for that fact. Out to long now on the pistol as James makes his way to top mid. He's got a threat in lower. He'll go down first.
Falls back to clear. That's the long hold from Crizzen. And that nice mid push from James. Not shying away from the gunfights at all.
A ton more damage from the MP9s while it gets just rake in that money. So that's a solid anti-eco here for AVANGAR. And a pretty cool previous round. Now, again, Spirit have found a weakness. They've exploited it once properly. They just haven't been able to follow up with the execute and the 5v4. But that still leaves that option open. Work those mid double doors and then move into a mid B or an A split. Both seem to be viable strategies.
Lots of utility being chucked back and forth here. Dima, he's got to get down into the pit. Barely makes it. 54 HP. Comes up for the gun duel, and there's a lot of CTs ready for him. Crisp headshot versus Krizen.
Such an awkward situation. It was actually 4 players at long. This is something we saw North doing. Instead of having 2 fighting with 1 throwing nades from the back lines, they have 3 fighting, 1 throwing nades. But the CTs don't hold, they don't push up. I think too many of them ate the flashes. Now, here's where I would look at utility, because we saw a bum smoke from the T's last round, and Dima finds what could be a round-changing frag. I mean, they did get the opening kill. It was 5v4, they get long control, but that round was far from over. AVANGAR still had the note that it was a lot of attention on this side of the map. They had information. But in terms of utility now, it's a little bit less. However, Spirit have turned their attention away from A site. 3 players in the tunnels. The worst thing that could happen is they get too thinned out. Buster makes a huge individual play, but he has had problems here.
Most certainly has. He's got a very narrow angle. Firing off some shots, putting the frag into the tunnel entrance as well. That's how he's going to soften up Coldy. Does even deal additional damage, but doesn't manage any frags. And Fitch's flank arrives with nobody within the bomb site, so he's been pinched upon. Plucked from the sky. Davcost will take him. We've got Spirit on the board here, Launders.
Nice. That wasn't an easy round to take long, considering how much attention was given to it by AVANGAR. Again, not something they did on the previous round. Went almost into a directly 3-2 or 2-1-2 setup. And still, Spirit were able to take it. But not only that, have 2 kills come from Dima. There's a nice final kill on the MP9. It's not going to affect AVANGAR too much. They can... Oh, they actually can't buy up. I was a bit confused about where their money would be at, but I didn't think it would be this low. James still managed to pull an op out of the hat, as he normally does. But what's Spirit's read on the situation? Do they expect there to be an op? Do they expect it to be a half or full buy, or do they recognize how much damage they've dealt? Either way, they'll turn it into kind of a force-up.
I think this is a prime example to go back into. Remember when yesterday I was talking about how James is consistently staying alive? And it's not only because if he has an op, he wants to keep it, but it's because sometimes he pulls out rounds like this, where he just goes all in on the purchase, and his sole goal is getting out of this round alive. If he picks up kills and can manage the upset, then that's just one even better. And we see him pick up the 5v4 straight out the gate. Flick shot to drop the man on Cat, and another. James into the 3K. He's going to be given another target towards Carr, and he's got a USP just next to him to support here. Barely missing the head of the man behind cover. He'll soften him up. Sotfik down to 24, but the bomb is denied. Buster grabs him from behind, and Sotfik has to do it all now. 35 seconds. That one Catalyst op has made the difference. James, this is why people talk about him. He could be a single-handed difference maker. But Sotfik's still up. He's still got a chance. They almost line up for him, but instead it's a 4th. Quadruple kill here from James.
Nutty round from James, man. That's another game-changing round from James on an eco round where he has saved enough to get that up. But just as you said, like, he is just so good with it. And it's just, he was so smart about the way he played. They didn't give him extra kills at long, but he got reboosted up to fight Cat. And when they went to trade him out, he ended up hitting 2 of the hard shots. Could have easily whiffed one of those and nobody would have talked about it. But, of course, he's going in for extra credit because that's the kind of player he is.
It's a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility to make such an aggressive purchase decision. Like, if he dies and they lose all that money, then, you know, he's down in the dumps, Launders.
If you're not willing to do that and buy the op, you shouldn't be opping. You know, and some players don't. You know, some players don't recognize that, like, they have more responsibility than their next teammate to both stay alive and have more impact. It's easier to get kills, and it's more important that you get the kills as opposed to your riflers who are more at risk of taking a lot of damage or straight up losing their fights. And you can ease up rotations for your teams. There's so many reasons why you're the more valuable player, or the most valuable player on the round on the CT side. James up to 166 ADR, inflated stat obviously because we're only 5 rounds in, but with the way he's playing, wouldn't be surprised if he keeps that up. Smoked across and a couple of players jumping suicide. Looks like it's going to be a fast cat. It's a pistol round setup for AVANGAR. And we might have one player drift back to mid. But it's going to come down to both James one more time and Fitch here at long.
Putting down his own utility. Smoke grenade to work with here. Gives him temporary cover. That means Crizin can hide and also focus on Cat. They're not worried about that long walk-up because James has this smoke. And Crizin doesn't have to try and hold back what was 3 players pushing up. Now that they arrive, he's even gotten himself an instant kill. James refixating his attention. Now that his cover is gone, he is in a bit of trouble, but he has the boxes still to play from. And not only 1 teammate, but 3. If you can include Kickert up from CT spawn and Fitch residing outside those long doors, they have effectively just stopped the cap push and then taken the second push from Spirit through long doors and boxed them in on that position. It really does come down to Coldy trying to get him out of this position, trying to open up an avenue, or they lose that man there. But like I said, Kickert's here to trade. AVANGAR have multiple layers to holding back this round. And of course, Kickert's just as capable of the rest of his teammates. AVANGAR skilled through and through. And Davcost looking pretty screwed.
He's dead, yeah. Could even be a knife kill here. Oh my god, he's going to go for it. Look at Fitch just stalking his prey at the moment. Last player alive, just trying to study this creature.
Wants to get him out.
Here we are on BBC. Davcost in his natural environment, scoped up, walking around.
The Davcost moves slowly when it doesn't know the threat looms near. Fitch, a natural predator of the Davcost, follows its prey to try and find its... Oh, never mind! He wants to get him after time, and instead, he's fully denied. Oh boy, that's awkward.
That's so awkward. Av doesn't know how long that player was following him, but humiliation.
You know that feeling you get when you feel like someone's watching you? I wonder if that translates into video games.
Yeah, you definitely. I think something went off in his brain. A little bit too quiet right now. Like, what's happening? Oh my god. That was great. It's good they're having fun with it. I mean, they've definitely earned it so far. Strong lead so far in this game. Stomped in the last one. That is wicked. Oh, Davcost. He's at least got to keep his op. He definitely earned it. But can he pull a James and be a complete game changer in a round where his teammates can't help him?
Whoa, whoa, Glocks. Gets the job done. Kicker will get him from beyond the grave. And a follow-up nade hits no one. But at least an effective 2-2 split now. I mean, if Spirit just group up and play numbers, like you said, Davcost could pull the James. We know he's a competent opper.
He's been fast. He hits those wall-bang headshots like we see with all the craziest oppers in the game. He's pretty nice with those explosive flicks.
It's one of the reasons he came on to Team Spirit, having left Flipside, because with that team, he had to secondary op behind World Edit. So now he gets to be the main man on the cannon. He's going to face off versus James, and he wins this duel. So Crizin comes up around the box, drops the op. That's important. Does get into the hands of SDY, and he's very wary of a potential long push, but he hears the footsteps close. He's got the supportive Molotov coming in as well. And while he does ultimately die, bomb plant, not going to go in just yet. They're not letting him get comfortable. 2 quick kills, although very scary at the end there.
It's a setup that totally could have fallen apart, just given a couple of better placed shots. So somehow AVANGAR still pulled that back, but it was a good attempt. Spirit, not bad at all. They unfortunately lose an op as well, so that just grants now a situation where even if you lose your mid player, you've got an op on either side. Maybe your op's at mid, and he has a better chance of winning. But AVANGAR have a strengthened setup off of the back of winning this eco. Or versus this eco. There's a difference between even that last round on Overpass where James was opping and his teammates didn't have great guns. He did a good job of making sure that even if they lost the round, he stayed alive and kept the op. And most importantly, didn't give the op to the other team. 3-2 here for James, or for AVANGAR. No presence at mid right now, which can be fine, but again, a lot of pressure on Kickert and Buster to pull off the hold, and they were open for business on that previous round. They let the trades go south, and the B site was compromised. Again, hard site to retake. We all know that. Here it is, Team Spirit to work up Cat, flash over the wall, and Fitch playing from the elevator. Interesting spot. Why is this his setup, I wonder? Maybe it's just to catch a player who drops in, and also can be a fast rotate to assist with mid if he hears that smoke. But this is crazy because this is the setup I told you I don't like, you know, where you have a car and then you have Jame here. But he's used the smoke to create a wall, so he doesn't need a teammate to watch long for him if they split the site.
Whoa, 3 incendiary grenades. Flying forward into Jame. Sure enough, Fitch here to counter the drop down. May know very well that Spirit like to throw this. They pick up the pieces. James still resides inside of the smoke. Sophic not going to control that bomb, and the last man up is Davkos, running around on a scout. Sure, he's tagged Kickert and followed up with the second shot. Sees James and was almost given a head to pop, but no. 20 seconds, 1v3. Oh, fare thee well, Krisen. He's been sent packing. Davkos wants another. Time now certainly playing against him, however. Do not want to die once it expires.
But you do want to die.
Exactly. So he's committed to the cause. Runs forward. 5 seconds.
Oh, they're waiting.
Yeah. Just trying to play with their food at this point. Davkos can't go down, but he will stop Jame. That could be an op.
Oh, that's actually huge. Can't actually fault Jame for looking for that kill. Oh, Davkos didn't recover the op. He picked up the scout again.
I think what Jame did was that's why Jame went around towards CT spawn. I think he threw it down to the spawn so that he wouldn't lose it to him.
This guy's 10 levels deep right now.
Right, it lets him risk his life after the time. You know, Jame more than content to try and kill Davkos, take away his money. But yeah, he's just got a deagle when he comes around that corner.
That's smart. Wow. Technically playing for the lose, but in such a smart way.
Big brain. Big brain Jame.
Crazy. That's good stuff. Yeah, that was a nice attempt in the 1v4, if it was, I think, with the scout.
Yeah.
And the damage is worth something. Not a whole lot. But AVANGAR's setup, man. How sick was that?
Yeah. I mean,
that round, it even works even better.
You called it right from the beginning. Like, what's Fitch doing on these boxes? And look how well he countered the 2 players dropping down. I mean, this is where I think, you know, we go back to what Pimp was talking about on the analyst desk, where not only does AVANGAR look so good in all these individual levels over Spirit, but I also think they're well prepared for this opponent. Like, when your opponent already outclasses you, AVANGAR still study them well, and you have that extra edge. It's an uphill battle and then some.
And they've been kind of split down the line, playing against each other?
Yeah, so, I mean, in 2018, I feel like these guys probably played maybe 5 or 6 series online versus each other from the beginning to the end of the year. It started to fall off because it wasn't as often, and AVANGAR pulled ahead not only in LAN results and international showings, but their most recent online experience, it was AVANGAR with the win. Kickert comes in, double frag with the AUG, and of course, seeing as these are softened targets, it's all too easy. 8-1.
Another emo eco. And Spirit will take that and fall back. What's the money looking like right now for Spirit? Do they have enough to get an op is the main question for me personally. Not doing EM damage on the ecos is the least of their concerns at the moment. 1 round on the board, and their T side is looking abysmal. So here, Davkos does purchase one, down to officially 0. I call it 0 if it's like 150, 200. This is 0-0.
That's chump change.
And there's 4 players out towards long for AVANGAR. Finally, we'll have Fitch fall back to mid. There's not going to be any targets here. They expel a little bit of utility, just in case it is going to be some type of rush, but Spirit will be patient. However, patience doesn't necessarily win rounds. It's just a component. Got to combine that with more, and they haven't taken any map control just yet. So here they are working the mid doors. They found success here, making it a 5v4 in the past. Fitch definitely playing a good game. It's not going to be an easy target to take down. They should have a significant advantage if a AK peeks him. But again, he is officially right side mid, you know? So on a mid B, like, he can boost up, but they could kill him. That would leave Buster alone in a situation where if they come tunnels or doors, or sorry, doors or windows, he's gonna die. It's not a fight that he wants to take. He's at fence. He wants to kill someone coming out of tunnel. Again,
that well-timed nade. Softening up the Cat players. You know, AVANGAR, they're not gonna contest it. They're not trying to rush into tons, not trying to screw them over on doors. They let them walk into their own trap, but Fitch blindsided. Dima actually drops down from Catwalk, slips right in, and Krizen's down as well. So Buster's solo hold, the tunnel's push, not well timed. It comes in separately from the mid push, and Buster holds the line. Another couple of kills could be his, and yeah, he strikes from above. Davkos trades right away, but then he is doomed.
That's so sick. You know how easy it is to fall off of the entire box trying to get onto that next little ledge on the opposite side?
Yeah.
He was really careful about his movement there, made sure not to slip up, and you know, that's a spot where he should be dying. He is not positioned to fight window and door. Like, those are the spots they're coming in from to try to kill him specifically. He gets 2 kills and then rearranges himself to fight the tunnels push. That was disjointed. It came in late.
Right. And I mean, one of the reasons that we see it coming late is because Team Spirit, they have to rush from middle. They didn't have smoke on the CT spawn, so those players, they're not comfortable. You know, they feel the threat behind them. They just want to get the kill on B, but because they have to rush that, we get Buster separating them off and just shutting it all down on his own.
Just like that, we're halfway into the next round. There's already 2 players down here, and it's a 3v5. The fastest that Spirit have lost players in a round, and they've got at least long to show for it. James here, though, would be happy to take this fight. He's got more than enough support nowadays. Doesn't have to throw any kind of crazy smoke to just to try to fight 2 or 3 angles at once. He can focus all of his attention on the poor sucker who wants to come along next.
Settle down, Fitch. Maybe one too many shots spammed. Krisen then falls as well. It's Kickert's 3rd attempt to control Catwalk that ends up working out. Still a man advantage, so sure, there's some losses here for AVANGAR, but at least they have an edge. And James, well, he has an inkling as to what's up. Dima's killed close, and he knows that it's Davkost at a distance. That scout has been proficient in these sorts of clutch situations before. Let's see if he can do it again.
It's a boon that he's so comfortable playing with the scout, but it is kind of alarming how many times they're rifling up and he's willing to just scout. That being said, it feels like if he had took more of a frontal roll on those rounds, get the damage in early that he ends up getting at the end of the round, maybe the rifles would have an easier time taking down targets, but he always seems to be kind of lagging behind and then going for exits of some sort, not being too impactful with the scout ultimately, even though his aim is good. So there it is, another easy cleanup, 5v3 to start things off. Yes, Spirit make it interesting, but soon after the trades come out and it's a hold with no bomb plan involved.
In fact, in this entire half so far, they've only planted the bomb twice, once in pistol and once in the round of which they were reset.
That's why we've seen so many egos. So,
rifle rounds at a limitation.
I mean, I thought AVANGAR would win this map. I didn't think it would look this easy.
No, I thought AVANGAR, I mean, I'm going to take what you just said and apply it to the series as well.
Yeah, for sure. Because of how close it's been between them, because AVANGAR have been great and then not so great at this minor. We don't know what AVANGAR we're going to get necessarily, but setup-wise, they look fantastic. James on point, which is a huge key to victory, and seems like the stars are aligning right now for this team.
Yeah, he's not just been good, but great. You know, I think a big turning point was that 4K round in the 5th when he solo buys an op. You know, takes all that pressure and let that just speak dividends of his confidence. You know, you've got to be...
It's actually crazy. That was the reset, huh?
Yeah, it was.
Stole back.
That's the round that reset them. Solo op buy.
Win a round and then can't win the force buy. That's and that's Spirit in a nutshell this game. Here on this round, they've got max loss. So they're going to be half buying every round. Half armor, upgraded pistol, maybe a smoke, maybe a flash. Pretty simple stuff. Every team in the world has a mid B on an eco round. Can be nice to rush someone if they're playing close mid. That's why teams have played a lot more just 2 in the site and figured out how to have their flex, rotate, support them without committing too hard. And here's Fitch. He's been great at that.
Dodging the flashbangs that never do come. Kickert only with 1. Fitch lurks right out from the smoke. Temporary wall not going to stop him. Oh, okay. I thought Davkost got that kill. But no, he does have the entry at least. He gets inside of the windowsill. Very wary of Buster in the back of the bomb site, and he will find him just through the edge of the corner. There you have it. 15 seconds left as bomb goes down. James and Krisen trying to combine themselves in terms of timing. Davkost caught in no man's land. Wasn't given separate 1v1s, and because of that, all he'll have is a bomb plant to his name.
So what can Spirit do right now? They have found, they've gotten the ability to get a 5v4 a couple of times. Even when AVANGAR have gone for their full long control with 4 players, Spirit have still won it a few times. They've just had trouble completing splits on the A side. They've had trouble taking a 5v4 and making that work for them. I think they still have the ability to test B one more time. If they're able to get to door and window like they did on the previous round, they should just need to hit their shot on Buster, but once that guy is down, then they have the site. It's an after plant. We have a whole new situation. So I think that's still on the board. And honestly, if you have a 3-2 split, you have tat control and long control, you should win that round, you know, at least 70% of the time. Funny thing is, James is going to be reliably behind this smoke on the ramp. So if they come out long and they don't see him, they still know exactly where he is.
Right.
That's the setup that AVANGAR are going to fall into time and time again. So maybe a good spam could win that, even though it seems like, you know, why would you risk your strat on trying to spam a smoke? Ultimately, there's actually a ton of reasons why that would work well. I mean, I know Krisen will play car sometimes, and otherwise he'll be watching the drop down or playing mid B in some sort. But James is always going to be on that ramp.
Slight variation this time around. Krisen's actually very close to long doors.
Further, whenever Spirit have taken long, James has pushed up Cat by himself and then gotten way more kills than he should have gotten.
Yep, that's exactly.
But they know when they don't take long that he's on the ramp.
That was exactly how he won the 5th round, as that solo op was pushing into the catwalk and catching 2. But speak of the devil, he's been caught himself. Slight smidgen of an angle given away there through the catwalk smoke. And the SG553 of Sotfik gets the job done. Now Krisen still maintains full long control, and Coldie's patiently waiting for the push. Sure enough, there it is. So 2 picks onto the A site, and then the heads present themselves for kicker. Wild spray down, does connect, but not for the kill. Fitch finds one in mid. Coldie called back into action, but AVANGAR are going to let this one slide. It's Team Spirit with a 2nd round, and how do they get this one, Launders? They let AVANGAR make mistakes towards that A site.
Yeah, they worked it really safely with a pickup Cat, and by the time they've ever crossed, they've always decided to full execute. So here's a situation where they throw one smoke and have one guy try to catch James off guard, and they are fortunate enough to do it. But he's been such a key player. He's the MVP of the map so far, and it's not surprising. It should be surprising that once he goes down, A site's easy to lose, and the round can be won. So bomb plant for Spirit, round win for Spirit. Is it a bit too late? I don't know. It kind of looks like it, but we'll see. They can win 2 in a row here, move on to CT side. Willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but we definitely need to see more from their T side. They've already blown a situation where they could have gotten free rounds because they lost an eco and then have never recovered since then. But there's a creative way to try to open up the round and even push Krisen into an awkward situation. And that's kind of a new situation where they know he's never pushed long, and they don't know what happens when James dies, what the adjustment is.
Right.
They seem prepared.
And it's not often James caught in that no man's land, like you said, so consistently on the ramp itself. If he had been on ramp, then that SG never is given a target. So catches him mid-transition, not something that's going to happen all too often.
That's a good again. They know that they can take long control. They've done it many times. Here, AVANGAR have hung out a little bit. They've got 2 players dedicated to it, so this is more variation to make it even harder to tell what this team's going to do. It looks like they might run head first into AVANGAR's 2-man setup. Now, although AVANGAR realized that this is a threat, that doesn't mean they'll be able to stop it. Still going to be a number of T's coming out long. It's an angle that is pretty 50-50 at times. As much as it isn't a headshot angle, and people always tell you to play headshot angles, we see teams sometimes having a player play out in the open because everyone's gotten so good at clearing the angle that it almost doesn't matter that only your head is showing in the pit. Everybody knows how to swing wide and take the face-offs if someone plays here.
Wyatt keeps his head down, catches Dima pushing up. Coldie's next in line, and do they meticulously clear the pit? Because Fitch is in it. Sure enough, there's the bomb carrier removed, and, well, James not going to shy away from the gunfight. He's going to throw himself amidst it, just like Davkos did.
Oh my god.
Goes through the wall, and could double back very well into the round. But James, he's got that cerebral game mind, and he gets it. Sense is strong in this one.
Yeah, pushed through his own smoke and then got stuck on the other side of the wall. Unfortunate place to be. This bait set looked like it was going to be solid. I mean, I don't think it was definitely not predictable to see 2 people in pit,
no.
Let alone them playing pit that late in the round because they never played long. But it got called out. AVANGAR still managed to win, and Team Spirit move on to the last round with at least a very decent buy still, even though their money got shot a little bit up there on that round. Fitch playing aggressive on Cat early on. 3 players towards B, similar to their pistol setup. And Fitch isn't going to move quite yet, though he does get dinked off the top of the stone railing.
Of the 8 rounds that Team Spirit have won in this entire series so far, only 2 of them come back-to-back. constantly one-round one-offs. Which is not a consistent way to win games, let alone versus a team like AVANGAR. So we'll see if they can do it a second time here, the 15th round, and last attempt at Spirit's T-side.
A replay. I'm happy to see this. All right, what happens here? Fitch is here to watch the drop. James is on the ramp. He actually doesn't have long support at all this round.
And they lose one of their mid-rotators. But Krisen is still down here. That's normally your long player. Good thing, too, because Team Spirit are doubling back. Davcost watches gap. That's an easy pick for him. So it all falls on Buster. The op inside of the B site, blinded by the flashbang. The repeat could cost him, but no, he nails a shot, just like Jame does mid. SDY clears close. That being his first kill of the map. And he's following it up with the second as well. So Team Spirit do it. They get those last few rounds at the end of this one. And folks, we're going to go ahead and throw this one to a break before we come back with the T side of AVANGAR. Three rounds is all they'll have to work with here. Team Spirit coming up near empty-handed. Thankfully for them, they get the 13th and 15th in the bag. Not quite consecutive, but close enough. Some Die Young as well getting onto the board there. That was, it's not every day you see 0 kills in an official, so I'm glad to see him break the curse. Maybe that is enough to reinvigorate Spirit to make one hell of a comeback. You'd think, again, just like on Overpass, this pistol could easily put the map to bed. AVANGAR with a crazy showing so far this series, showing why they were one of the favorites coming into the CIS Minor.
Now, this match is consequential, but it's not the end of the world.
Right.
They are only playing in the upper bracket, so this is more beneficial for the winner than it is detrimental for the loser. They'll still, Spirit, if they lose this, will still be able to play. But Coldy, oh my goodness. What a round from him. 4 kills and a couple careful taps, but he can't make it 5 just yet. Will he find it? No. James takes him out, and it's actually a 1v2. Bombs left in an awkward spot. And he recovers the USBR P2K. Is this his weapon?
Could very well be. Just needs a couple other taps. I mean, Coldy got the 4K. Why can't James? Possibly because he only has 30 health, and the bomb is in no man's land. They're not quite sure where he's at, though. Look at Davcost double-checking the flank. Oh,
okay.
Never mind. Swings wide and takes it. Team Spirit have a lifeline here. This pistol means momentum.
It does, yeah. Yeah, no. I remember a cold 4K though. That was a pretty sweet one. 3 instant headshots. A lot of pressure would have been put on his teammates for them if he couldn't get maybe all 4 of them. That could have been a whole different round. It could have been a 2v2 there in those final moments. So a nice round, a bit of solace for Team Spirit. But will it be enough? Anti-eco. Everyone's got pistols from AVANGAR, and we'll be able to have a pretty fast route out to A. Davkos is probably the best target for them to fight, considering their weapon.
Nice bank nade. P250 follows suit. Oops. James with a bit of a mistake, a bit of a blunder. Maybe still they can plant. Kickert's gonna try to get it in. Oh, down to the wire, almost had it to the dirt. But instead, it is him on the ground. So, Team Spirit deal with that fast pace relatively well, and now they're gonna have to do it again.
2 rounds, no plants, but they still will have enough money. We're so used to seeing James off almost right out the gates. Here's a situation where he'll probably have to rifle up. Let's see. He's actually going to get a scout. We don't often see him scouting. We have in the past. But at this minor, they've just been so successful, especially off the backs of pistols. I mean, they've just been winning them so often. Some Young struggling a bit this map. Here he is to try to control long, one of the more difficult and frag-heavy locations for a CT to play. You know, you're a B player, you might not get action the entire map. You play long, team's doing something wrong if you don't get action.
He is completely alone though, so doubles back a little bit. Tucks himself behind the blue bin. And well, Fitch, he's sniffing out Catwalk. There's nothing really to be found here until he rounds the corner into Davkos's scope. Minute to go.
It's kind of a line that he doesn't want to cross. He's done his job. His part of the work is over. They've even got someone to make sure that he can't get flanked. So his attention can stay forward. Ball control is taken. Some Young goes down. Davkos misses a shot. The op shot, though, is good.
Yeah, he follows it up in the second cycle. However, there's just so many bodies being thrown at him that he's ultimately doomed. Doesn't have that temporary smoke cover we saw James play there. No, sir. Dima and Coldy separate at the moment. And while the bomb's planted on the A site, Buster's already in a great position to cut off Coldy's exit. This would be cost effective. He also hears Dima lower. Whoop! Can't quite get it in. Kickert should be able to.
It's crazy that utility usage is the most important difference between the way that Davkos played and the way that James played.
Yep.
Like, Davkos just hit 2 shots. You know, he did a great job. But then he also exposed himself to being killed after getting the 1 kill. He could have, if he threw that smoke that James threw on the ramp, defended himself against long, but even peeked it if he wanted to, gotten a kill, fallen back, and let his mechanical skill ride. But there's a situation where he doesn't have support at long and doesn't have a backup plan if his support fails.
Yep.
Some Young, obviously, is in a position where he needs to frag, so you can't put all the blame on Davkos. But certainly, there were other options for him if he used the noggin.
Gotta think. Use the big old noodle.
And sometimes it's also fine to just sit up on the top of default. It's just so easy to Molotov off that if you know that the other team is taking cat control, you don't want to sit there. They can bank that pizza nade off. Like, they don't. No one needs to know the lineup, right? It's not something that is very specific, and so you're always going to get hit with some piece of utility that'll put you off your mark.
And plus the thing is as well is, at least on the ramp, you know, you can kind of keep yourself completely sheltered from Catwalk, whereas if you're inside of the boxes and you're forced to move, it's not like you can jump down without being fully exposed. It's like once you're uncomfortable as an actual dedicated site player, you're doomed. So, has temporary cover, and like you said, hit the shots. He still got 2 kills, but there's simply that gap in between bullets fired that allow AVANGAR to overwhelm him. So we've got the T's on the board early. We've got James no longer on a scout, the P shooter chucked to the side. He's full-fledged cannon now.
13-5, and the momentum has been stolen back already. Mixed bag here. Davkos has an op at least. And AVANGAR like to slow roll these rounds. They take their time no matter what the stakes. Even though they know that Spirit don't have much to work with, they'll still make it a brutal affair for them. Initial Molotov goes out, flash will go over, spam will come in. But there are no victims. No one's even moved, actually, so. The only thing you got out of it was baiting the smoke and knowing that they've got this mid presence. Cat play might come into effect here.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to push down on a Fitch who just popped Sopik as he pried over the side of the ledge. Davkos is going to double back to the A site, and good thing he does so, because there is a cohort of AVANGAR working their way up long, and they may be closer than he suspects. Smoke indicates the potential cross, and sure enough, they're up and over. Oh boy, Krizen with a zinger of a headshot. Dima's going to take the boost over to the smoke, but the bomb plant's safe from him, so instead he takes the riskier decision and moves right through. There's a terrorist down over towards long. James answers Krizen's tag, but still successful in stopping Dima's attempt to catch them by surprise. So Coldy, well, Coldy just gets plucked out of midair. And that's AVANGAR on 14. Spirit lose all of the money they invested in the previous round, and nobody has more than $2.75 thousand to try and stave off a guaranteed overtime.
And just to induce more salt, AVANGAR call a pause off of that round. As if they really need it, guys. Come on. Oh my goodness. Krizen actually did a good job of stalking the smoke, making sure that no one was going to lurk out from any angle. And yeah, when they took the site, they made it look simple. There's definitely a value to cooking that Molotov as long as possible. Just let in the fire, burn up, because that smoke gets darker and darker and it becomes harder to see. And certainly Davkos from elbow was thinking, I've got an easy shot for now. Hopefully they peek me soon. And then as the Molotov got more and more distracting, it's made it an easier swing for Krizen, who was actually anticipating someone to be in that general area. 2 away from closing out the match and the series.
In more than convincing fashion.
Yeah, and it's going to be 4 subs until the end of the game here for Spirit. Another pretty safe default. One control out for AVANGAR. Well, they're poking around, actually. They're not using too many pieces of utility. I always think it's fitting to see the smoke being used as a cloud when it lands on top of something.
You know, those UV rays, real deadly. Just like Dima's positioning here for Buster. Considering he's tagged up by the scout, falls off. That 5-7 could have swooped in at a moment's notice.
If we saw this half play out, Buster would be used as a lurk over towards B a lot. He's actually really good at it. You know, the difference between a bad lurker and a good lurker is that they know when to push, whether it's early or late. And that just takes a whole lot of game sense, right? It's like using your sound, communication from your team, reads on what their setups have been, the conditioning that you've employed to see if you think it might work. He always seems to find a way out at a good time.
Davkos putting the scout shots down range, softening up so many players already. Look at Buster, Fitch, and James. They're going to have to limp into this A site. But do they just go incredibly silent and then eventually creep in? Because the thing is, Dima knows towards mid that it seems clear enough.
Smoke is so poofy. They actually wait to cancel out the site smoke, which the CT's through. And then it might be a problem, but all these players at 30 HP go down to these pistols quite easily.
Yeah, Kicker and Krizen.
Oh my god, 4 of them tagged.
Gonna have to be the difference. I mean, they still have enough health. They just need these AKs to rip through the counter-terrorists, and some Die Young can't manage more than one. Dima hot on their heels, and Coldy's sectioned down to CT spawn the bomb plant in the nick of time. Very scary situation there for AVANGAR, but they still best Spirit on the bomb site, despite there being numbers and a health advantage for the counter-terrorist side.
It was a huge health advantage, too. 4 players down, I mean, they were all so lit up, and at a certain point, Davkos is probably confused as to how he knows he's hit so many people, but no one's died.
Right.
It's kind of unlucky, to be honest, but he did his work. He really did the most that he could possibly do. That's even maybe better than hitting someone twice because you get more damage out of it.
I love seeing AVANGAR in those kinds of moments when they know their lives are on the line, just really slow it down, and you can see them peeking literally angle by angle. You know, if you expose yourself too much, it's just going to take 1 or 2 pistol shots to drop you. So they isolate duels, 1v1s after another, and this time it's the quick clash towards tunnels that puts AVANGAR in the driver's seat, looking to lock their position in the winner's best of 3 with a 16-5 victory here on Dust2.
Would be fitting and well earned. AVANGAR played so well. Just look like cut above Spirit, as well as a lot of the other teams at the CIS Minor so far.
Yeah, the only team that they've dropped to, of course, would be Windstrike. The winner's best of 3 of the group stage, which makes me wonder just how on point those guys are. A real contender, seeing as they've made it as a core to a major already, but this is Fitch to finish it off. 1 health the difference for him. And this is AVANGAR with a statement here in the playoffs of the CIS Minor. There is 2 spots and the potential 3rd for the play-in. But if you have to ask me, I think these guys are the most convincing, hands down.
And they're so interesting to watch. It's such unique Counter-Strike, and on top of all that, they play sound fundamentals as well. There's a lot to see from these guys. Hope they go far. They're looking good. And again, it's not as heartbreaking as it was yesterday where teams were just going home.
Yeah.
You know, here at least it goes to the lower bracket, and Spirit will have another chance.
Exactly, and they're always near that 3rd, 4th position when it comes to these minors, so don't count them out just yet. It only takes a day to reset. We're going to go ahead and throw this one over to the analysts so they can unpack our first best of 3.